Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to set the starting camera and also how to make your both your enemy and your avatar a little more controllable and maneuverable. So first, let's go to World Settings, and I'm going to use the Xbox remote to do this. And we're going to go to Starting Camera, make sure it's turned on, and then it says to set the camera, push X. So we're going to do that. You can zoom using the right button and the left button zooms out. You can scroll using the right uh, joystick, and you can actually move around on your screen using the left joystick. So using those controls, kind of zoom to the point where you want your whole game to play, because the starting camera, the zoom level is going to be the same throughout. So this looks about good to me. Where you have your actual cursor is important too, and then it tells you at the bottom to move the camera to the position you want, and then push enter or X depending on what you're using. So I'm going to push, let me just make sure it took that. I'm going to push A is what it wants me to do with the joystick. And now my starting camera is set. So I should be able to play this game now. And it's going to start from right there. Perfect. So you'll see with these guys, you see how the enemy's following the path. So he's going to take these real wide turns, right? Which is good because that gives you an advantage. But right now they're both set to the same speed, the same acceleration, everything. So I'm pretty much matching his speed here, except for in the turns, that's where I'm going to be able to beat the enemy, right? So you want to make this as competitive a race as possible. So that means you're probably going to want to increase the speed of the enemy to give him a better chance, just because he's going to have to take those wide turns. So to do that, we're going to go into the character settings, right? So let's make him super fast and just see what happens to him.
3, 2, 1.
Alright, he's super quick. He's making those turns real fast. Oh, I'm going to lose him. I'm just trying to keep an eye on him over there. Alright, looks like he's doing okay here. Right? He did okay doing that. A lot of times you're going to see, kind of depends on the structure of your map, but if you make them too fast or change the settings around too much, sometimes they'll spin around in circles. So a good way to fix that is to go to their settings and make sure that their turning speed is not too high. You actually want turning speed to be a little bit on the lower end. We'll leave him about 1 because I think he's okay with that. His forward acceleration is what's going to help him make those turns better, and his turning acceleration. Those two things help him be more responsive. So let's just see if we notice any difference here as he goes this time.
3, 2, 1.
Looks fairly similar, but it looks like he's getting in and out of those turns a little bit better than he was. He was getting stuck before. So keep that in mind. The acceleration things are good. The turning speed is not so good. Let's see what happens if we make him go have a really fast turning speed.
3, 2, 1.
So he's okay with that too. So you may have to play around with it. In fact, he looks really good with that. Okay, so maybe give him a fast turning speed. Your person though, you're gonna find to be a little bit different. So let's see what happens if I turn my forward speed all the way up, my turning speed all the way up, my forward acceleration all the way up, and my turning acceleration all the way up. All right, here we go. So I'm super fast. I'm trying to turn, but I'm going to be bouncing all over the place here just because my turning speed's so fast, everything's so fast, it's just hard for you to control. So your player is the one where you're going to want to make sure the turning speed is slower, unless you've got way quicker reflexes than me. But if turning speed is lower, and you still have turning acceleration high and forward acceleration multiplier high, that's going to make him more controllable. So let's see if we can see a difference here. So still probably too fast, but at least when I turn, I can get going straight again a lot easier. Behaves more like a motorcycle, even where I can tilt and then. So obviously way too fast to control still. So what I would do then is I'm going to go back in here And I'm going to slow them both down a little bit. I'm going to put him at about a 3.5 as far as forward speed. And I'm going to be even slower just because I want to give him more of an advantage in those turns. So I'm going to go down to, let's just go all the way down to 2 and see if that's even competitive. Alright, so I can turn pretty easily there, even though it's a sharp turn. Speed up again. He's faster than me, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat him, but my player is much more controllable now. Alright, so he beat me. So this will be a little bit of trial and error, and it's going to depend on your game too, of course, but he was at 3.5. Let me try 2.8 and see if that's more competitive. So I could probably even go in and turn my forward acceleration down just a little bit, just for those sharper turns. This is a much more competitive race, at least. Okay, so that just gives you an idea of what some of those tools are. You don't have to do it exactly the way I did it, but what you do want to definitely do is make sure you've play tested your game many times. Make sure that the enemy is following the path the whole way and isn't getting stuck anywhere. If he starts doing circles around one of the turns, that's because he can't turn sharply enough. So you'll have to change his turning acceleration probably, or turn his turning speed up or down. Or his forward speed down. So it'll be a little bit of trial and error, but make sure you have tested your game, make sure it's competitive, make sure it's controllable, that your avatar is very controllable, and that the enemy stays on the path and finishes the race.